I want to go ahead and start getting into the conversation. Shout out to my people that's coming in on YouTube. You guys see the title. We're talking about Jay-Z, the bombshell allegations made against him. And we're also talking about Daniel Penny being found not guilty as well, too. And like I say, Park, I see you came up here. Was there a space going on, Park?
What's good? What's good?
What's up? Was there a space going on where they had you in the title saying that you was co-signing Daniel Penny? Hold on real quick. Let me finish my point, man. I'm gonna get to you.
I mean, it's if you listen to it, I unfortunately had to. A lot of other people who I told to join this one, Newstoter, I shouted you out. I said to join this one because the other one was just complete jokes. I mean, the fact that he was just saying things without any type of. I mean, he was just talking, right? So this is my position that I have said. I'm consistent with, based upon the video, the court documents, and the witnesses. Daniel Penny should not have been charged with second-degree murder. He should have been charged with manslaughter in the first degree. Now, it's easy to say, oh, you're anti-black, you're this, you're that, because I don't think he should be, because I think he was guilty, not guilty when it comes to those terms. It's easy to say all those things, right? It's easy to just get mad at me for saying that the charges should have been different, right? It's easy to do those things. But what's tough for the guy who made this space named after me, and for a lot of other people who are looking at this thing, and I think personally the wrong way, is to have a conversation about the court documents, the video, the witnesses, and the legal definitions of different type of crimes. So that's my position on it. I have never advocated for his death. It was a tragedy. Should have never happened. But he also should have never been charged with those crimes because it was wrong, as the jury then decided.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, real Park. In your estimation, because it sounds like you did some of your homework, do you think that the jury should have came back with a not guilty or guilty verdict today?
I think the jury made the best decision because the charges are wrong. I am against the charges. I'm not against him being charged. I'm just against those specific charges. First degree and second degree are completely different things. That's why people get charged by them being differently. No one gets charged with both of them, right? I mean, people. That's why another thing. Remember the George Floyd case, right? When Keith Ellison took that up, it was a very long time. It was a very specific way that they went about that case because they wanted to make sure that they charged him with the correct charges. You cannot just charge people with whatever. It has to be the correct charges. It's a courtroom. This is not some type of like, raise your hand if you killed him. Yeah, you killed him. Cool, you're going to jail. No, it's a courtroom. Unfortunately, it's not how things work. It's a courtroom. The prosecutor, who I think, unfortunately, I thought they did a good job. The charges were wrong, and I reference them to everything I say. I'm not against the prosecutor. I live in the city. But when it comes to the specific charges, which unfortunately for many that are having a tough time grappling with, it matters on what charges you charge somebody with. You cannot charge somebody with something and expect a conviction if the charges are not accurate. So I'm going to have a discussion with anybody if we're going to talk about the facts of the case and the specific charges. I'm not going to talk about anything else outside of the charges in the case.
Okay, this is gonna be interesting. So when my people get a chance to come up here, I want to hear you guys come on up here. So you're saying that he should have been charged with manslaughter, in your opinion?
First degree to be exact, yes. First degree manslaughter in the state and city of New York is when you intend to cause physical harm, but then it leads to their death. It's the intent that matters with everything when it comes to. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to pretend to be one, but I've studied law, and I'm not saying it gives me any more credit than anybody else. But I just watched the case. I read the court documents. I watched the video. I live here. This is right. This is right by me. I'm not just some idiot who just likes to hear myself talk. So that's my take on it.
Okay, real quick before I go. So if he was charged with manslaughter, in your opinion, And I want to get what verdict do you think should have been handed down? If you were on that jury, I'll just ask you, if you were on the jury, he was charged with manslaughter, like you said, what would you have what would you have chosen?
I would have said to yes, charge him and convict him with manslaughter in the first degree, because his intent was to cause serious physical injury, but he happened to die. That is what manslaughter in the first degree is, which is very different from manslaughter in the second degree.
All right. Stay there, Park, because I'm sure we're gonna have a number of people that want to come up and speak tonight. We're talking about the Daniel Penny not guilty verdict, and we're also, of course, we're going to be talking about the Jay-Z allegations that were dropped against him yesterday. So we're going to be touching up on both of these topics tonight. Let me go ahead and get the corporate.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Yeah, one thing I just want to say, I'm absolutely sick of these incompetent district attorneys overcharging people. That is what's causing these miscarriages of justice, quite frankly. And I'm starting to believe that it's on purpose, because there's no way we're seeing time and time again the wrong charges being brought on these people, right? So even in this case, I agree with Park. I believe that it was overcharged from the beginning, and there was no way there was going to be a murder, or in the last case we were in, someone was calling for capital murder. That doesn't even exist in the state of New York, by the way. But anyways, me personally, I believe it should have been manslaughter in the second degree, right? Not the first. I don't think he intended to cause harm, but I think there might have been an element of recklessness, right? So manslaughter in the second degree is recklessly causing, right, with intentional use. So you did something, you didn't mean to do it, or you didn't think that far ahead, and then something might have happened. I think it would have been much more interesting to see the jury deliberate that and see the merits of that case, instead of, something as big as this, because from the moment he walked in that courtroom, there was no way anything was going to happen.
So let me ask you a question, corporate. Had you been on a jury, had he been charged with manslaughter as well, like Park was saying, what would have been your verdict in the case?
Honestly, I think off of what I have seen, I do not think I would have convicted even on that.
So even though he took the life of a man who posed no serious threat, who wasn't injuring anybody on the actual train, he didn't have a weapon. You're saying that this person, even though quote unquote, you're saying that he didn't intend to kill a person, you wouldn't have charged him with anything, is what you're saying?
No, I don't. And the key piece there, right, is the acts of Jordan Neely on the train itself, right? Leading up to the events, everybody on the train being scared for their lives, the fact that people had to step in, not just Daniel Penny, but other people also stepped in to aid Daniel Penny in, restraining this man, because he was a danger. It was an imminent threat, and and that's not. And again, I think those words, imminent threat, especially in the Black community, it's not lost on me using those types of words. But I believe in this case, truly, people were being threatened. It's not just, oh, I see a Black man walking and I'm scared, right? So I don't want my words to be misconstrued. But I do believe, drugs were found in this man's system. He walked in the train car. He was yelling. He was being violent. He was, it was getting very serious.
Now you said he was not to cut you off. You said he was being violent. Now, did he strike anybody in there? Did he attack anybody in there?
Now, he did not. But I will say this: I don't know if you've ever been on a New York City train car, right? But when you're in between stops, when it's moving, you're stuck. Whatever's happening in there is happening, right? So this is something I talked about with one of my friends yesterday when we were discussing the case. If you are on an airplane, right, and a man stood up in front of you and you're in the aisle seat, and he's saying, I'm going to take this whole damn plane down. Y'all are coming with me. It's over for all of y'all. What are you going to do? Are you just going to sit there and be like, oof, I hope the flight attendant addresses this individual? Or are you going to go, hey, like, calm down, man, back up? And if he starts getting agitated, he needs to be restrained until we can land the plane, the authorities can come, and we remove this person off the plane, because we're in a tube. We're in a tube in the sky. And Daniel Penny and everybody on that train, they're in a tube underground. Once those doors close, you're locked in. There's nowhere to go.
All right, very interesting, very interesting. I have never seen anybody be violent that actually didn't do a violent act or violent deed. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let some of the speakers on here. We got Ray, we got Stephanie, we got Twizzle. So I'm going to go ahead and let them go ahead, and then we're going to keep this conversation flowing. Ray, how you doing tonight? What's going on, man?
So what's going on, news? How y'all doing tonight?
What's up now?
So this is just my, thoughts on this whole case. So this brother, the one that got killed, I believe it was up in New York, right? So from what I understand, he was being loud, but he was not being physically violent at all. So that's not an excuse to kill someone. I just can't buy that, especially when you could have de-escalated the situation as opposed to putting this man into a chokehold for over 15 minutes. Despite the sign, that he was showing, visible signs of distress, possible unconsciousness, he basically had a disregard for that. And that prolonged application of force, that he should anticipate there was going to be a fatal outcome if you're holding someone in a chokehold, for 15 minutes. And there's also something called duty of care. Like when you start initiating like physical force or something, honestly, you kind of have to assume duty, if someone goes unconscious, something like that. So allowing, Jordan to die, under his restraint that he had in his chokehold, that should at least be, like gross negligence or a deliberate act. But of course, we've seen how this goes. Let's just be honest, we've seen how this goes in the past. So I'm just gonna land there. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't think this brother deserved to die. He was a little, he was like 100 pounds. He was special needs. He was a Michael Jackson impersonator, and then he gets killed. And the first thing they want to do is bring up the fact that he got in trouble in the past. It's just a reason that they're trying to just bring up to justify killings, man. At the end of the day, like I said, we've seen this time after time again. And I hate to say it, in probably another 10 years, there's going to be another situation where another kid gets killed, and they use it to justify it. Like that kid up in Ohio, I forget his name, that was playing at the park. The police pulled up, didn't ask no questions. What was his name? Tamir
Rice.
Yes. Didn't ask no question, just pulled up and just shot a kid dead. How do you justify that? And yet still they got away with it. So this is just more of the same old. History just repeating itself in a very bad way.
All right, appreciate that, Ray.
I just wanted to mention, dude, I think his name is John something. He got killed in a Walmart. He was about to buy like an air rifle, and someone in the Walmart called the police and said he was trying to holding a gun, and they came in and shot him straight dead. There's a black man in Colorado somewhere, Wyoming. You know what I mean? But go ahead.
Yeah.
While we're talking about it, who was that white dude? I believe it was Bernard Guest. That's what his name was. It was on the tip of my tongue. He killed those people in a subway, I want to say, up in New York. He killed, I want to say, killed one, paralyzed another. So, again, like I said, it seems like every decade there's always this situation where someone is getting killed. Am I justifying, his record and all the other stuff he did? No. But I still don't think the people he deserved to die in that subway like that.
Thank you, Ray. And let me say this, because I know Corporate made a point of saying this, and it seems like whenever you have these situations pop up, the first thing people talk about, okay, well, this person had drugs in their system. Well, so what if they had drugs in their system? Was he hyped up? I mean, did the drugs make him commit a crime or something? Like, did the drugs, was it PCP? I mean, whenever you have, especially when it's a black person, especially when it's a black man, they get killed under circumstances like that. The first thing people want to talk about is what they had in their system and what they this and that and all this other stuff. Like, that had absolutely nothing to do with the situation there. So let me just go ahead and say that real quick. We got a number of hands up, so let me go ahead and get to Stephanie. I'm gonna get to Twizzle. I'm gonna get corporate. I'm gonna get to you and Park again, but I want to get to Detroit since he's a new speaker as well too. But Stephanie, how you doing tonight, sweetie?
Hey, how you doing? How's everybody doing?
What's up now?
I just want to say this, okay? As for a person that's living in New York City, born and raised in New York City, rode the subway stations every single day, it still didn't warrant his death, okay? We look at Bernard Getz. Bernard Getz was just, he was another one of those. They're rage killers. They have a need or an urge to kill, okay? Look at the face of Derek Chauvin when he was choking George Floyd to death. Look at the look on Daniel Penny's face when he was choking Jordan Neely to death. It was in his face. He was concentrated on killing this man despite people telling him to let him go. It was there. He wanted to kill this guy. I'm sure, yes, sometime back he's probably seen this guy and had an interaction with him, but the guy, nobody can prove that 100%. I'm sure it was intentional. It had to be. It sounds like it was intentional. It's not something that he just seen him for the first time. What real hero is going to sneak up on somebody, and choke them out for 10 minutes or however long it was? I think it was 8 or 9 minutes. I forgot. And choke them out and
15 minutes.
15 minutes, and still and still call that a person being a hero. And then you got other people holding his hands down, holding his legs down. So he didn't have a chance to defend himself. And despite the fact that this man had 40-something arrests, nobody's bringing up the fact that most of the charges were actually hopping the train turnstile. Those were most of the charges. Yes, he had 2 or 3 assaults, but there's also videos out there that people could have shown that he was being provoked. He was being provoked. Okay, yes, he had a mentally ill issue, but nobody talked about how he watched his mother get murdered in front of his face when he was a young boy. Nobody talks about that. That's what fueled his mental illness. He did what he loved to do because he loved Michael Jackson. He was a huge Michael Jackson fan, and it made him some money. But people also taunted and picked on him too. That's what brought out his defense mechanism. I guess he was just defensive. But nobody likes to talk about that. But the fact that this man can get away with choking somebody to death, and I feel sorry for the next white man that tried that with another brother, because it's not going to end well for that person. And I'm going to tell you that right now. Because that right there was an overkill, and he should have been charged with murder. I'm sorry. Well, manslaughter at least. At least get him some time in prison. They just raised another $2 million for this man after Ron DeSantis said that he was a hero. They raised another $2 million for him. So this man is rich. Just for killing someone and saying that he feared for his life, even though the guy was further down the train car. He was on the other side. He was not in harm's way. All he was saying, he was hungry. We know what to do with somebody. You go in the next train car and you look for a police officer. That's what a lot of people do. If you feel like your life was in danger, why didn't you just go to the next car until you found a police officer on the train car? Or you could have pressed the button right there and alerted the conductor and said, "Hey, we got somebody that's that we feel like might be a danger to the public. Can you send the police on the train to this car?" The conductor would have alerted the train operator, and they would have had a cop to come right there to that car. You could have did that, but nobody thought about that. And I don't want to hear nothing about no split-second decisions, because the button is standing right next to you, because there's a button on every train. So that's a lie. He did it because he wanted to. And he's a cold-blooded Neanderthal killer, and it's in his blood, and it's something that they will never shake. They have a need and a bloodthirst to kill. And that's all I'm going to say.
All right, Stephanie.
Hey, Newstoter, let me correct myself. It was 6 minutes, not 15.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Race. Thanks, Stephanie. Let me go ahead and get to Twizza. Twizza, what's going on with you tonight?
Everybody, what's up, Newstoter? What's up, right? You know what I'm saying?
What's up now?
Just came in to offer my 2 cents in because I heard the gentleman try to justify the murder of a human being. Everybody know that, and everybody saw it, And like I agree with 100% what Stephanie said, because me and her agree 100%. He had it in his head the moment that he thought to sneak up behind him and put him in a rear naked chokehold. Now, everybody in here who watched the UFC just like me, we know we see people go out in chokehold in less than 10 seconds. He held him for 6 minutes, so I think he probably was dead. I think Jordan knew he was dead way then, and he knew it. That's why he hit him. Like, if you choke somebody, you don't feel their body go limp. I knew his body went limp, and like you said, that savage, brutal, half Neanderthal, because he looks mixed to me, that half Neanderthal in him just said he just wants to do it. As they said, he's military trained, so he's trained to kill. And that was his whole intention. And then they said you got civilians sitting there holding the man, personally, basically committing and being a part of that, and they let them go as well. It just reminded me of the old days. Doing my history research when I was doing studies of the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre, there's a law in the books right now on the 13th Amendment that says they have a right to kill us if they're correcting us. And that's how he's getting away with it, because he was correcting Jordan Hill. He was correcting a situation. And that's how they're trying to get off on it. And this is an unwritten rule. That's why I can't stand that lady on Fox News, Judge G. Carino, the drunk lady who got 4 DUIs. She is the biggest racist on Fox News, and she's supposed to be a Muslim. She's supposed to be Lebanese. She is the main one promoting that he's innocent. He didn't have nothing to do with it. And I really think she has something to do with that verdict by her being a New York judge. You know what I'm saying? That man is 100% guilty because he thought about what to do. And if you had that thought, that's intent to a certain degree. That's first-degree murder. You know what I'm saying? And they trying to take it back to the days to where they can get away with killing us, and they're getting off with slaps on the wrist. And the reason why they're doing it because of this immigrant class we have, such as these Asians, these red dots, and these Muslims. They want to partake in that too. And I'd be goddamn, excuse my language, I'd be man, you know what I'm saying? If we go back to that days where we can't even look a person in the eye, we have to bow our head down. The so-called dominant race got rights to our woman. If they want our woman, they can just pull her in any bathroom, any closet, and have their way with her. I'd be goddamn if we go back to those ways. I'm standing 10 toes down on this, man. We got to start. If it ain't no legal justice, we got to bring back street justice, because that's the only thing they listen to. You know, they know if they keep getting away with this, they know that they're going to have to start prosecuting these people, because if not, it's going to be a major mass repercussions. I'm not condoning violence or initiating violence, but something has to be done. If the law is not working in our favor, what are we to do? You know, us black people, damn near, we all know 60% of the laws on the books right now were made for us, and we abide by them. But if they're not abiding by them, why should we? You know, I land my plane there, y'all.
All right, thank you, Twizza. I'm going to get to Detroit, and then I'm going to come back to you, corporate, and I'm going to get to you, Park, since y'all already speak. Let me get to the new speaker, Detroit, and then we'll get to you guys. Detroit, go ahead and unmute your mic.
What's up, bro? This my new page. I got clipped for a couple days ago. In Detroit.
Oh, okay. What's going on, man?
Not much. I think, like my man was just saying, like, you know, he knew, you know, he's the military, right? So he knew, he just look at the guy and tell you something wrong about him. He was kind of weak, frail, if he was, you know what I'm saying? He saw the weakness. He purposely killed that guy. You know what I'm saying? And because of our past prior with the civil rights movement and how it, and you know, the riots and stuff, and how white folks were really not being able to put fear in our hearts like they were, like they did our grandparents and their parents, you know what I'm saying? So he saw him.
Hey, Detroit, do you have a headset on? Yeah, if you can, take the headset off, because you're pretty low. You kind of mumble.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you better. Go ahead. Yeah, you there? Detroit, are you there? Hey, yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead. You got it. Hey, Detroit, are you there? I think I may have to drop Detroit down because he's having some issues. Detroit, we'll bring you back up here. I'm gonna drop you down, or you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
It sounds like you still got your headset on though.
I took it off.
You took it off. Go ahead because you low. Because even the people on YouTube saying you low too. But go ahead.
Turn the volume up on your phone, bro. Turn the volume up on the phone.
You know, that's one of the more incidents like that is gonna happen. So he just saw a soft target. You know what I'm saying? It was a soft target for that white boy to do that young man like that. That was just a soft target. He knew he could kill him, he knew he beat him, he knew the dude had mental illness, he knew he was homeless. You know what I'm saying? So it was wrong. He killed this cold-blooded murder of you. He already know how to seduce somebody. Easy. So that's about it, bro.
All right, appreciate it, bro. But you are super low though. But appreciate that. Let me go ahead and corporate. I'm gonna get to corporate. And I'm gonna get to park again. But corporate, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, so I just want to reaffirm this was a tragedy at the end of the day, right? It's sad that a man lost his life, but it's not lost on me about every single individual's decisions that day has led up to where we are, right? So just because he had drugs in the system doesn't mean he deserved to die, but it is a factor in determining the totality of the situation. Same way how we, evaluate the fact that, oh, well, he probably could have pressed a button. But you and I both know, also growing up in the city and riding the trains, just because you press the button, we're still in between stops. It's going to take some time, right?
May I ask you a question?
Well, hold on, towards it. Let him finish. Let him finish. Go ahead, corporate.
So again, I'm not justifying murder, right? I'm not, but I am justifying the right to defend yourself and others. Additionally, I want to point out that Jordan Neely didn't die in the hands of Daniel Penny. He died when the NYPD failed to intervene and perform life-saving measures, right? That's the true duty of care. That is who has to perform the duty of care, the NYPD. They sat around watching this man who needed life-saving intervention, and because they said, oh, he looked dirty, they did not want to do mouth-to-mouth resuscitation or perform CPR, which I think is disgusting. Because once again, you see a black man and you don't value that as you would any other person. Just because they're a drug user, just because they're poor, just because, whatever color they are, they're still a human being at the end of the day. And I think that he should have had that. And I think it's a travesty on the NYPD, but honestly, I'm not surprised with their track record of what happened that day.
Okay, you say it was an NYPD, but I mean, correct me if I'm not wrong. This man had the life choked out of him by somebody else who you keep saying that he posed a threat. He posed a threat. He posed a threat. Yet he had no weapon on him. He didn't attack or assault anybody on that actual train. To say that somebody's talking loud and cursing or whatever, we've all been around people talking loud and cursing, but nobody went up there and just instantly put them in a chokehold and proceeded to choke the life out of them. We say the same thing about the drugs as well. To the drugs contributed, because we heard that whole thing with George Floyd. Well, George Floyd had this in his system, and George Floyd had, and if he didn't have that in his system, George Floyd was killed. Simple as that, by Derek Chauvin. I don't care what he had in his system. That wasn't the reason. His system didn't go in shock because he had drugs in him. He didn't overdose because he had drugs in him. He died because Derek Chauvin had his foot, had his knee on his neck. That's why he died. This guy died for the same reason that he got the life choked out of him. I'm just trying to understand. Okay, I know you said that he should have been charged with manslaughter. Okay, but then you said if he was charged with manslaughter, you would still say, you know what? He was justified and jumping up on this guy and choking him out. So I'm just trying to figure out when have you seen somebody who didn't attack anybody, who wasn't violent with somebody, end up losing their life, being choked by somebody stepping in out of nowhere, and this person not served any kind of jail time whatsoever? Because had he not choked this man out, this guy would still be alive. So I'm just trying to figure out. We want to put the blame on the police and this and that. And I'm not saying that they don't have, they may not have some liability in this as well too. But the person who orchestrated this whole thing, whether it was premeditated or it was a spur of the moment or whatever you want to say, was Daniel Penny. Had Daniel Penny had he not done what he did, the man would still be alive. It's just that simple. It's that plain. And I just have a hard time believing that if it was a black man that jumped on a homeless white man and had him in a chokehold for 6-7 minutes or whatever, and that white man died, people, it would be outraged. People would sit up here and say, you know what, go ahead and put him in prison for the rest of his life and everything else like that as well too. So I'm just trying to figure out how is this guy not, behind bars at least for 20-25 years? We knew they weren't gonna give him life. We knew they weren't, he should have been in prison for some kind of time. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, how is it okay to go ahead and to assault a man to the point that person dies, and then everybody says, you know what, well, he did the right thing and he was in fear of his life. The man not one time put his hand on him. The man wasn't up in his face, within his space, threatening him and telling him what he's going to do and this and that or whatever. I mean, you could see that this man was all up in his face like that and he was close, and, you could see something like that. Or if he had been doing that to other people, he was, touching people or hitting people, attacking people, any of this kind of stuff. But that wasn't the case. And it's just, I just don't understand that, how people can sit up here and say, hey, you know what, this guy was justified, and even put the hero, try to paint him as some kind of hero and this and that or whatever. But this is the American criminal justice system that we live in. So that's how I can understand that. I'm gonna get to Park, and then Twizzle, you wanted to ask him something real quick. Go ahead real quick, and then I'm gonna go ahead, and then actually DJ wants to ask something too. But go ahead, Twizzle. I know you wanted to ask him something real quick.
Yes, I just wanted to ask him, was it known that Jordan Neely had drugs in the system at the time of the incident? Was it known that he had drugs in the system when he was in the rear naked chokehold for 6 minutes? Like we just said, we watch UFC fighters put people to sleep in less than 10 seconds. He was held for over 360 seconds. Come on. You mean to tell me that there was no intent there? You mean to tell me that it's the NYPD? I'm not sticking up for the NYPD, but you want to blame them, saying that they didn't help him when he was in a rear naked chokehold for over 6 minutes? The man was already dead. If it takes 6 seconds to put someone to sleep, if it takes less than 10 seconds to put someone to sleep, how long do you think it's going to kill someone? Simple as that. I just want to know those questions right there, and I'll pass the mic.
May I respond? Or?
Yeah, go ahead and respond.
Okay. So you addressed the rear naked choke. Again, he wasn't dead.
I addressed the drugs first.
Sure. Okay. Your point on the drugs. No, it was not known, right? No one knows exactly, but everyone has a good understanding. I mean, I think we've all seen someone strung out before and can tell, oh, okay, there's something not all there. This person's definitely on something, right?
How could you tell the difference from someone being strung out or someone asking for or crying for help, like the Sister Stephanie said? How could you tell the difference between the two?
I mean, a cry from help doesn't sound like I'm about to hurt everybody in this train car. I don't care if I'm gonna die. That doesn't sound like a cry to help to me.
Have you ever been in a position before of a broken man?
Yes, I have.
Have you ever lost everything? And everyone been by yourself and have a mental issue?
I understand what it's like to be under mental duress, but that doesn't justify the actions.
But it does justify the actions of him coming up behind the man and choking him out, is what you're saying, though.
Sorry, what you saying is? I didn't catch that last part.
I'm saying, but you saying him being that doesn't justify the actions, but I'm saying, but it does justify the actions for a stranger coming behind a man and literally choking the life out of him, is what you're saying.
Once again, he didn't choke the life out of him. He was still alive when the NYPD showed up. That was in court testimony, right? So we know that's not true.
Okay, well let's put it like this right here. Because he choked him the way he did, the man was hanging on for his life, is what you're saying. Is that accurate?
Yes, that was 100%.
So he did put deadly force on him. He put deadly force on the man, right? It was
Sure.
okay.
Yes.
So then you're saying that the NYPD had to come in there and they had to go ahead and do they had to do a life-saving techniques to try to keep this man alive because he was mortally wounded by Daniel Penny. Is that accurate?
No, that is not accurate.
So you're saying that the NYPD had done mouth to mouth, he would have lived. But since they didn't do it, he ended up dying. So you'd have to say that the man was what he was mortally wounded because if the NYPD, if they had not been there, he would have died on the scene, right?
News, I understand the logic that you're using, but one key thing that I haven't brought up is the fact that it is just a circumstance, right? So that is one of many things that contributed to this. So drugs in your system, along with being, in a chokehold, along with being denied care, along with, adrenaline running through your system, all of that comes together for the outcome. I don't think Daniel Penny solely, right? And that is the key point here when you're evaluating the charge of manslaughter in the second degree, which is the charge that I probably would have liked to see in court and see the prosecutors make a case for, right? Because I think they might have been able to. Because again, like if I was in there and that's the charge that they were given and they played their case to that charge, obviously I'm willing to evaluate a case with open eyes and whatnot. So, but that's not what they did. That's not the evidence that they put forward for people to evaluate. So again, when going back to the charge that I said that I would have liked to see the DA put forward, the mitigating circumstances during that is negligence, right? I don't believe that there was negligence that solely contributed to his death.
What solely contributed to his death? What was the main factor in Jordan Neely dying?
I personally believe Jordan Neely's actions contributed to his death. I think the fact that he decided to get on a train, to threaten people, to take drugs, that is what contributed to his death.
So in so many words, Jordan Neely basically brought his own death upon him, and he pretty much had it coming, is what you're saying.
I don't believe anyone has it coming, but I think we're all responsible for our own actions. And if we put ourselves in bad situations when bad things happen, we can't be surprised. I think it's very tragic that he died. I wish he got help. I wish,
And Daniel Penny played no role in this man no longer being his. What you're telling us?
I do not think Daniel Penny played the sole role in him no longer being on this earth. Obviously, he had a part, right? Everyone has a part in everything that happens, okay?
So the biggest part of Jordan Neely not being alive is not Daniel Penny, is his own actions, is his behavior, is quote unquote the drugs in his system. So those are the two main reasons why he's no longer with us, is what you're saying.
Yes, I think if Jordan Neely got on that train that day, sat down, and enjoyed his ride, he would still be alive.
So if he had been a good nigga and knew how to behave, then he would still be alive. Okay, I got what you're saying. I mean, you're talking to a man that's in his mid 40s. You're talking to a man in his mid 40s that lives in the Deep South, born and bred in the Deep South, generations of deep. So I kind of understand the talking points that you're saying. I'm gonna go ahead, corporate. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it around. DJ, the co-host, wants to say something. Then we'll get to Park and we'll get to Xander and we'll get to Rella and everybody else as well too. But I know DJ wants to say something. But go ahead, DJ.
I know you're just giving your opinion, corporate, or whatever the case being, rightfully so. Every person is entitled to that. But where are you from again? If you don't mind me asking.
Originally, I'm from New York, Brooklyn, New York. Right now, I live in Tennessee.
Okay, so if you're originally from Brooklyn, how old are you?
I'm 26.
All right, too young to know anything about why Jordan Neely was acting out the way he was, in my opinion. Because if you was twice your your age, meaning my age, someone acting out like Jordan Neely is regular. You must have never been around like no real crackheads or fiends. But that's regular when someone is lashing out on drugs. You feel what I'm saying? That's regular. Everyday occurrence, B. When we grow up from in Brooklyn, I'm only right across the street from you in Newark, bro. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm from Brick City, and what was described how Jordan Neely was acting, well, that's regular. Because you even had people who was just saying that he really didn't do anything. So why are you not saying anything about what these other eyewitnesses were saying? That he really wasn't really bothering anyone. He was just talking loud, but we just ignored him. That's what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So the other question is to you, have you ever been hungry? Because when you're hungry, you can't think, B. I don't know if you ever been starving to the point that the mind is just really somewhere else. It don't sound like you come from that, and rightfully so, you shouldn't have. You know what I'm saying? But some of our people do, and some people in general do. You know what I'm saying? It's not a white or a black thing to be poor, because anyone can be poor. And be starving on the streets of New York City with nowhere to go. It's the concrete jungle, bro. You can't even go into the forest and go lay your head under a bush. You on the rock, bro. That right there is a mental a stressor. You feel what I'm saying? So if he was running around from train to train saying I'm hungry, damn, there must be some horrible people from Brooklyn to New York because nobody fed that night. All the food that's flowing around New York City, no one bought him a sandwich or a chopped cheese meat. That would have stayed pinned, bro. Not someone choking them out. So we just spoke about this a couple of days ago. Daniel Penny is from Iceland, bro. You know it ain't nothing but some crackerknackers out there. So that Penny is only, 26, 27? He probably never seen the Negro in his life. Except on TV and what we see online. So Stephanie right. He wanted to kill Jordan Neely. In our reality. Because he been in the Marines, so he think he a war hero. You know what I'm saying? That's what this all about, yo. And ain't no real knackers in New York just because you a black American. You know what I'm saying? All the real niggas dead and locked up. But you too young to understand that. Because that wouldn't have went down if it was some real knackers on the train. Here's the reason why we know this. A tether, a couple of them stepped on the train and could have stopped them. They did nothing. Because guess what? They not like us, Kendrick. Some of us got the same color skin and born in the same ethnicity, but we not like each other. Because we would have caught a fade that day. You know what I'm saying? And just like right now, I'm not inciting a riot. NYC should be on fire. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we just witnessed again for this umpteenth time one of our black people life getting snuffed out, bro. Where the real Brooklyn knackers at? Since Brooklyn's so tough all the time. Go shoot the club up, bro. You know what I'm saying? Now's the time. You know what I'm saying? And ain't nobody gonna say nothing. Because we all just witnessed a murder on tape and the man just got let go. They killed the man. Lord, I saw the man dead. We shot him dead, Judge Grady. You know what I'm saying? We got him. It's what it is, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody gonna do nothing. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't want to hear knackers as the artists anymore. You know what I'm saying? From New York or from any block. Stop letting these people kill us, man. So, in reality, I do agree with you about the charges to a certain extent, but what other charges can you put on a person when you see it in real time of what just happened? Or am I in the Matrix and we saw different tapes? I guess the prosecutor was the white cracker saw a different tape than what the Negro said so. So, this is why Daniel Penny is gone free. So the system of justice is we'll never have any justice. You know what I'm saying? And the fact of the matter is it really falls down to this conversation. A lot of us just don't understand our own people.
All right. Let me go ahead and get to Park. Go ahead and unmute your mic, and then I'm going to get to Rella, and I'm going to get the professor and Xander and them and new speakers. But go ahead, Park.
So, a couple things were said that I just want to pick apart. One, someone was saying someone in the space was defending his death, was justifying his death. I haven't heard anybody justify his death. I've heard people provide the
Hey,
document.
Park, you don't see these white people online, bro, justifying his death every day, all day. They call him a hero, call him this. I understand what you're saying, though, but yeah, come
Talking
on.
about the space. I mean, there's no there's racist people out there who are defending.
Hey, Park, you got a headset on?
Hello?
You got a headset on, Park?
Yeah.
Go ahead and take the headset off. Everybody, if you got a headset off on, take it off, please.
My mic's shot out on that, so if you can hear me now.
Yeah, because you're pretty. You were nice and loud before, but now you're pretty low. So, but go ahead, Park. We'll try to get to you.
So, last thing I'm gonna say is that it just seems like everybody is just ignoring the stuff that has come out from the video, the court documents, and everything that's been provided. Because people are saying that he killed him. If you watch the video and if you see it, like he was still alive. He actually talked after the guy got off the body, right? So to say that he just died after he got choked, I mean that's just not factually correct. And just I don't know, it's just weird because so many people were trying to talk about this case, talk about this. I don't have all the facts. Obviously, I wasn't there, and I haven't read every single court document page to page. But I at least have been able to read, what happened in the court and follow this case for some time now. It's been going on for a minute. But people are just, the things I'm just hearing is just crazy. Like I said before.
So, Park, the coroner's report is saying that he didn't die from being strangulated. Is what you're saying? Strangled to death.
No. I'm not talking in regards to what the coroner actually said that the strangling actually did contribute to death. And I'm not disagreeing with the coroner. The coroner's the coroner. They know more than I do, so I'm not.
You said homicide of the compression of the neck.
Right.
Okay, so he was killed by being choked to death.
I never said he wasn't.
You said that he was talking. You said he was talking when Daniel Penny let him go.
Yeah. And just to answer that question, stay twizzled. But look, just to get to the point, just let Park speak real quick. Just let Park speak real quick.
He was.
Yeah, but hey, Park, just to answer your question on that medically, and I'm no doctor or anything. Again, as Twizzle has said, if you could get choked out in 10 seconds in the ring, and it's over. So medically, if you get choked out or lose consciousness or airway through your brain after 30 seconds a minute, you brain dead. It's over. So if we choked them out for 6 minutes, 7 minutes, and Ray, what the coroner say again, bro? Could you repeat that?
I don't think that's
Homicide of the compression of the neck. That was the medical. Let me make sure I get it right. That was a medical examiner.
Okay, real quick. Real quick. Let Park go ahead and finish because I want to get to the hands up here as well too. Go ahead, Park.
I rest my case. I'm laying my plane with what I was saying, but I gotta go. But didn't want to talk about the whole Jay-Z thing, so maybe I'll come back with it later.
Yeah, we're gonna touch up on that as well too. But we because I'm gonna touch up on that. But all right, thanks, Park. But let me go ahead and get to Rella. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic. Hey, what's up, Rella?
Hey, Newstoter. Hey, DJ. Shout out to Rella. I'm okay. I just was listening in, and I just heard a lot of opinions and not facts. And the crazy part is they haven't released any court documents yet. So I was wondering where Park and whomever else was speaking were able to find court documents, because they're not released yet. But what was released were journalist reports of the testifying of only the medical examiner. They haven't even released any witness statements that did come forward, because a lot of witnesses didn't come forward. That was brought out in a lot of this information that's online. And so to hear someone say, well, when you had study, well, the only thing that came out specifically was that a witness said that he was being loud and belligerent. None of the witnesses from the accounts that even ABC, NBC, and CNN have posted said that he threatened anyone. That was actual Daniel Penny's account. And the crazy thing is that none of the videos that were online that have been swiped said at the time when the police showed up that he was threatening anyone. So if you can find videos where you heard him physically saying he was threatening someone, because I remember specifically there were a lot of videos, even of him sitting down, standing up. He was very agitated. You could tell he was screaming about being hungry. He was cussing. And he was approached by Daniel Penny, and the two other guys came over to help, as if Daniel Penny was in some sort of distress. So if the medical examiner in the testimony that I posted, the medical examiner Harris stated that it was homicide by compression of the neck. Where are people getting that Jordan Neely was on drugs? Is it because Daniel Penny said that he looked like he was on drugs? Because the medical examiner didn't say he was on drugs. Matter of fact, they never even released any of the toxicology reports because none of that information has been released. So I'm wondering, are people just going off of, again, how they feel because they want Daniel Penny to be innocent in the situation because he was a subway rider who decided to literally take himself and strangle a man on camera because he says in his mind he was protecting passengers. But if you're protecting passengers, which passengers are you protecting? Because in the video, there weren't anybody around but Daniel Penny, the other two gentlemen, and there was one woman standing in the back. So she seems like she was pretty protected. So there was no further need to hold a compression around someone's neck. That doesn't sound like heroism to me. That sounds like someone was testing out their ability to commit murder and get away with it. And they use the excuse of, oh, a black guy screaming and yelling on the subway, I'm in fear of my life. But the medical examiner deemed his death a homicide. Where do you get off on a homicide charge free? And people making up the fact that he had drugs in his system with no account of drugs. So because Daniel Penny said he looked like he was on drugs, because that was what he told the cops, I like facts. And a lot of people like speculation because they want every black person they interact with to be on drugs. They want people who deal with the elements in homelessness and the housing to be on drugs. As a matter of fact, the next white person I see that look like they on drugs, somebody should wrap their arms around their neck because they're going to threaten your life. The moment they speak, yell, call you out your name, they are exhibiting signs of being on drugs because that is the precedent that this case set. And I don't want to hear anything about it because we all about to be heroes now. And the Diddy situation.
I'm gonna touch up on that real quick, relative.
Should we wait? I can wait till you touch up on it. I can come back and swing around. But I just wanted to land that because it's funny how, again, people will lie. They will lie hard and long to make something seem true and say it long enough because they want it to be true. Daniel Penny is just exhibiting signs of schizophrenic. Matter of fact, or some sort of psychosis, because you can tell he's not even there. Matter of fact, after he strangled Jordan Neely, he himself was not there. He couldn't even figure out what to do. No CPR. Somebody who's trying to restrain someone but not harm them, if they see signs of distress, they're going to switch gears. Mentally, in that video, Daniel Penny couldn't even figure out what to do next. No CPR aid was rendered. The only person who was trying to figure out how to get circulation back into to Jordan Neely, to his heart, was the black guy who was holding his legs and picking him up. The other guy stood there just like, he was Hispanic.
Let me get you to let me get you to get ready to land it, Rella.
Listen, I'm going based off of appearance. I know the other two gentlemen have names, but I'm saying the one with the hat and
Hey, real quick, Rella, let me go ahead and get you to land it so I can touch up on the Jay-Z thing.
Okay. So, got you. So then he was the only one actually trying to figure out how to, get circulation back to Jordan Neely to help try to get him to wake up.
That meant landed, Rella.
I got you. So at that point,
and you still going?
I'm sorry, I was trying to finish.
We got you. You cooking. We're gonna come back to you, but we got you. And Professor and Xander, I got you guys up here next. Real quick, I got to touch up on this this article from Black Sports Online, one of our top entertainment sports curation partners. Jay-Z denies allegations of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl with Diddy at an MTV VMAs after party in 2000. In response to recent allegations made against him, renowned rapper and entrepreneur Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, has vehemently denied any involvement in a sexual assault incident. The accusations, which were initially filed in October and refiled just recently by anonymous accuser, accused Jay-Z of assaulting a 13-year-old girl at an MTV VMAs after party in 2000 with his associate Diddy, also known as Sean Combs. An official statement released through his Roc Nation banner, Jay-Z unequivocally refuted the allegations and raised counterclaims against the accuser's lawyer, Tony Busby, accusing him of engaging in blackmail. Jay-Z asserts that this attempt at blackmail was intended to exploit the nature of the allegations and the accompanying public scrutiny, with the expectation that he would opt for a settlement. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whoever will commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that was the case. However, Jay-Z has chosen a different course of action that involves exposing what he perceives to be an orchestrated effort to tarnish his reputation. He categorically proclaimed his unwillingness to succumb to extortion by declaring, "So no, I will not give you one red penny." So let's see how all this plays out. Jay-Z isn't backing down, and he's ready to expose this Busby lawyer for the fraud he thinks he is. These are some serious accusations, and if true, justice needs to be served. But until then, Jay-Z is standing strong and proclaiming his innocence. So I just wanted to go ahead and get that out because I know we've been up on the we've been talking about the Daniel Penny situation, and we can still talk about that, but I wanted to get that article out there real quick. Shout out to Black Sports Online for that as well too, and shout out to Simply Rick for his contribution on Cash App. I didn't mean to cut you off, Rella, but I want to just go ahead and get that out there. Professor, what's up, Professor? I got Professor, I got Xander up here as well too. Black Pressure, your hand ain't up, but I see you up here. Viral D, what's up? So yeah, guys, go ahead and we can go ahead and get back into it, and you guys can speak on either topic is fine, but I did want to get that out there. Also, guys, for those that can support us on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. $Newstoter. Also, subscribe to the Newstoter platform. It's up in the Jumbotron as well too, and it's also on YouTube, guys. In the description, you'll see the Newstoter customer link panel. Go ahead and create a membership on there, and it's also on the screen as well too, guys. You can support that way as well too. But go ahead, Professor, how you doing tonight? It's been a little minute, Professor, but what's up?
Yeah, what's going on, Newstoter, DJ, Sister Rilla, I see Trouble down there, I Am Money, Where I did see trouble down there, she probably left the space for a little bit. But shout out to all of you in the space tonight. As we come together tonight to talk about the Daniel Penny and Jordan Neely case, right? Another one of our brothers was harmed and murdered, and I don't see it any other way except that he was in fact murdered by Daniel Penny. Anybody that's coming up in here talking about drugs being in his system, you are using white supremacy talking points. That's exactly what you're doing. And that's all I'm going to say about that. You have no proof or documentation of such. You've been hearing this through the media. You've been hearing this through the rumor. You've been hearing this, the different people all on these spaces and apps that want black men and black women to be harmed. They want to justify the murder of black people, black American people, as we saw even with the Sonia Maxey case, or we have seen with other cases. They always justify the reason behind it. Somebody got drugs in them, and they never really have proof of any of this. George Floyd, what did they come out with that? We heard, well, he had drugs in his system. And then they justified it by saying he had also attacked a woman that was pregnant. So they came out with that. So they always throw out drugs and criminality as reasons to justify our murders, which is what this guy corporate has done right here in this very space. And as far as I'm concerned, corporate cowboy, you are a sissified cowboy, because you up in here in a black American space justifying your sissified white supremacy reasons for why my people should be murdered. Now, when I heard you say this stuff, I am one of the types that would come off the mic ready to just go in on it. But somebody told me beforehand to hold back, because I was ready to come off the mic. Everybody in here knows me. They know I would come unglued when I hear stuff like this, because we are tired of hearing these justifications for the murder of our people. Our people have gone through a lot in this country, and we have built this country. We have added a lot of glory, a lot of pride, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to this country. And we continue to be disrespected and spit upon and murdered in our homes, in streets, hell, in our cars, on subway trains, wherever we are trying to be at peace. We have people like corporate who think we should be killed. Because Jordan Neely, all he did was say he was hungry. That's really where it was at, corporate. He was complaining about life, man, which is what a lot of us do. When we're going through hard times in life, which are you trying to say, corporate, that black American people can't complain and let out their frustrations of life? Are you telling me that? Are you telling us that we can't scream and holler without you guys feeling like we're threatening you because we complaining about being hungry and complaining about how life has dealt us a major blow? Y'all can't handle that? Hell, you damn white people do it all the time. Hell, as a matter of fact, they go out and shoot everybody behind all of this. That's right. They go and shoot people. School shootings and churches and grocery stores. They go and blow up federal buildings like Oklahoma City. This is what you cracker-knackers do. That's how y'all take out your frustration. That's right. That's what you do. So I say to you, corporate, to come up into a Black American space, and we love to hear different points of view. Trust me, we do. But it's very hard to listen to people like you because you're coming in here making up lies. You telling lies based upon what's being said over the internet by white supremacists. And we know how white supremacists get down. They hate our guts. They want us dead no matter what. And they're willing to spin any narrative to make it look like we should be dead. Okay? Because they just want us dead. They want Black Americans out of the way. They feel threatened by the Black American mystique. They don't like our swag. Okay? They don't like our style. They don't like how we stay strong despite all the ills that have been put against us. So I say to you, you are a weak, sissified ass motherfucker. Excuse my French.
Professor, I don't know. Okay, Professor, I don't know why you had to drop that part. I mean, now, Professor, you know exactly how we trying to do the space. If you got a beef with dude, just have a beef and say what you got to say. But you know good and as well, we ain't trying to have nobody dropping MFs up in here as well, too. So come on, man. Come on. Let me go ahead and get to is Xander still up here? Xander, go ahead and unmute your mic.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Xander.
Yeah, Daniel Penny. What I want all Black Americans to stop doing is let them stop bringing up drugs at all. Because listen, you got many people that can be on drugs, prescription or not. What they want to do is set up a narrative to where, I'm going to put this in quotes every time I say it out of respect for DJ. But every time, what they want to do is set up a narrative. Every time you get a quote unquote nigger who's high, this is a narrative that we have to stop letting them push, say, mention drugs as far as any Black American being harmed unjustly, just like with Daniel Penny, what happened with Jordan. Now, as long as they're going to apply these rules across the board, like I've heard other people say, that means that anybody who's in New York, you are 100% justified in killing Daniel Penny if you see him, because all you have to say is that I want everybody to know that's a 100% fact. Now, when Jordan Neely decides he was diagnosed, if I'm not mistaken, he had a history of mental illness. You cannot go harm somebody with a mental illness just by saying I feel great, because I've seen many people who have autism, any type of disability. They can make all kinds of threats. Your response is not to go behind it, choke them and kill them. The proper response is to get them the proper help that they need. And what they're trying to do now is they want to set up a system to where no matter what a Black person does, when white fragility kicks in, they want to give them the right to kill any Black person anytime their white fragility kicks in. When Jordan Neely he wasn't touching anybody. From what I hear, he was complaining about being hungry. Now, if you see, I can't tell you how many times I'll see somebody out on the corner with a sign. Sometimes people walk around downtown Chicago talking to themselves. Sometimes they could be talking and they're talking to themselves. They make all kinds of violent statements. But if they're not touching anybody, you have no right to do anything to them. When they tell Black people that there's a reason why you have law enforcement. If you feel threatened, you leave. You call us. That should be the proper response. So anything short of Jordan, of Daniel Penny getting the death penalty, that means that not just the jury they selected, but this outcome, all Black Americans have to understand that all white people 100% agree with what happened to Jordan Neely. They all agree with it. And they all mute.
All right. Thank you, Xander. Thank you. Let me, corporate. I want to ask you a question real quick. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and get Ray. Ray, go ahead, and then I'll come back and I'll ask the question. You up here, Ray? You up here, Ray?
Yeah, I'm here, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I just wanted to touch on something that I heard earlier. I heard, what was his name? I think his name Corporal say. I think it was about the intent, if I definitely heard that right. So actually, when I want to go look it up, so I'm not, just talking to be talking. But give me a second. I want to make sure I read this to everybody. So negligence. So negligence refers to the failure to exercise reasonable care leading to harm or death. So to say that there was no negligence to contribute to that man's death, I think, was false, because we all know there was use of excessive and unnecessary force because he applied that chokehold, that technique that's known to be, potentially lethal, because again, we said it's used in, professional fighters use it. Despite the absence of, an immediate physical threat, witnesses reported that Neely was loud and disruptive, but again, he did not physically attack anyone. And that decision to use that force, given the circumstances, it needs to be considered a failure to act. He prolongedly used that chokehold. So again, that adds to was there negligence that contributed to the man's death. He used unnecessary force. He held a chokehold longer than he should have for up to 6 minutes. A reasonable person would recognize that continuing to constrict someone's airway, for such a long time is going to kill them. So he had a lack of remorse for this man's, well-being. Duty of care was owed, again, once that force was used. By engaging, Mr. Neely fully, he assumed that duty to care to ensure for that man's safety after he's, done. Once it became clear that he's no longer a threat, no longer resisting, no longer conscious, etc., he should have stopped applying that chokehold and then checked on that man's condition. Failure of him to do so, that shows a lack of responsibility in ensuring that Mr. Neely was, for his well-being after that initial choke. He ignored the warning signs from different bystanders. There were witnesses reporting that were urging Penny to release, Neely as the situation escalated. Choosing to ignore those warnings, again, indicates a reasonable judgment and situation awareness. There was knowledge of the chokehold's risk because, again, he was a former Marine. So Penny was likely trained, because I know they give us a little bit of training in the Navy, not much, on things like this and CPR and things of that nature. There was the fact that he failed to seek help or even mitigate any harm. So, Penny, he reported that he didn't take any steps to render any aid after the chokehold that caused him to lose consciousness. Again, I've already talked about the coroner's report and what he said, and I think I'm gonna land there. Hold on, before I land, there's one more thing I want to talk about really, really quick. So this killing made me think about another killing, which this is not related to this case. I want everyone to know about this because it's so relevant. In 1976, there was a 15-year-old boy that went to Franklin K. Lane High School in Brooklyn, and he was shot by a New York Police Department named Robert Torson. So this was around Thanksgiving of 1976. They reported to the police reported to there was something going on in the housing projects, and this 15-year-old boy had a conversation with the police, and then the police ended up shooting the 15-year-old and blew his brains out. And his partner even asked him, well, why did you do that? And his response was, I don't know why I did it. He was like, he basically said that it was a legal precedent that was set that said basically when he killed this 15-year-old, that he was suffering some type of psychological episode called automatism. And I want everyone to look that up because that's a legal precedent set because this child was killed. But I'm going to land there. I just wanted to let everyone know about that. The child that was killed, his name was Randolph Evans, if anyone wants to look that up.
All right. Thank you.
In the chat, right?
Yeah. Yawa is a Yawa, and then I'm gonna get to you corporate. I'm gonna come back to you corporate. But Yawa, is that the name Yawa?
Yes, you were.
Ewa. Go ahead, you got it.
Yeah, so on the I won't. You basically say what I wanted to say on the Daniel Penny stuff. Like he was special needs. He used assault, not just assault, but lethal and violent force on Nelly, and that was and then so I was arguing with a Sephardic Jew, which is crazy, but I was arguing with him, and he was telling me how Nelly was doing evil. He he kidnapped a 7-year-old girl. He did this and that. I was like, it don't matter because he's special needs, and he was nonviolent on the train. And regardless of his history, he didn't have any real arrests. Like it doesn't really matter. Like it was just murder. And so what the white folks trying to do is, and not just whites, but other coons and Caribbeans and Africans. What they're trying to say is oh, Nelly's a hero, and he's a hero for just murdering an innocent, basically just an innocent black man. And I just wanted to put my 2 cents on that. That's just the type of position that we're in as black people. Like I don't think people really understand. I think a lot of outsiders and a lot of white folk they view murder as a natural inclination. So to them, murdering a black man is just easy. I've even seen white women say, "Oh, he's a hero. He killed that nigger." I'm just like, that's easy for you to say because you used to do it so easily. They norm. So it's and I think this is worse than George Floyd. This is worse than George Floyd. I would say it's way worse than George Floyd because in this case, Nelly was more special needs than anything, and they didn't take care of him. The government didn't take care of him. The government failed Nelly. The people failed Nelly. And regardless of how I feel about Black Lives Matters, even though I feel that Black Lives Matters does have politically some issues, they do have people speaking on Nelly. Like regardless, you view it as right because white is right, might is right, and that's how they view things. So unfortunately, I don't think anything's going to come out of the Nelly thing. As for now, what I really want to talk about was the P Diddy thing because it says there on the Jumbotron. As for the accusation of rape, all I'll say is this: is that there's an account called MAGA Presley, where it has Elvis Presley on it, MAGA and Elvis Presley. I told the dude that Elvis Presley was actually an open pedo and actually had sex with a 14-year-old girl and married and had relations with her, and they said, "Oh, there's no proof of that." And when there's plenty of proof of that, all I'll say is just when we try to at least do our own thing or play the same games they play, they will accuse us and out us of many different things. They'll create mean-spirited comments on us, and they'll say like, "Oh, Jay-Z raped and Diddy raped." They did the same thing to Michael Jackson. They did the same thing to Sam Cooke. If you know who Sam Cooke is, they killed him, and they did the same thing to him. So it's just another way of trying to make the black man out to be this violent, pedophilic, colonial, like this rapist, when the statistics don't add up to anything. Yeah, there's some stuff that I practice in the dark. That's our business, and the fact that they have groups from their own tribe that do the same thing, and they don't call it out at all. They don't even call out this bad behavior. It's just telling. It really is telling of the groups that we're dealing with in entertainment. And I won't lie, the entertainment world is a brutal world. It's really nasty and brutal. You look at Michael Jackson, what he had to deal with the lawyers and his doctors, and Sony and how they treated him. So I would say it's the same thing with Jay-Z and the rest of them. They just, unfortunately, because white supremacy is the number one ruler of the whole world, I don't think we're going to see anything good out of this coming out of Jay-Z rape. I think that will harm his image. Because even in real life, I was talking to this girl. She was just talking about, "Oh, Jay-Z's a demon. He's evil." I'm just like, man, we really kind of demonize our own people here. Because he's the top of the top, and it's hard to even be in that position. Like, imagine being in that position that Jay-Z's in, and then dealing with all of these people. You got the white people take you out. But I feel like this supremacist of behavior to try to pin something on a black man and try to out him out and single him out when they're all a part of the same group and they're all a part of the same company, and they just don't treat each other as equal. They just want to mistreat the black men because they just seem as the most abusable thing to do. So that's all I had to say.
All right, appreciate that. I see we got Rock Roller up here, and we got Lee with. I'm gonna go ahead and incorporate. I know you had your hand up, Twiz. I'm gonna get back to you as well too. With corporate, go ahead because I think you want to respond to some of the comments you heard in the space. So go ahead if you want to still speak. If not, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, a lot's been said in between now and then. I'm actually going to hop off, but I wanted to thank everybody.
Corporate, one quick question I want to ask you real quick. I want to ask you a quick question real quick.
Sure. I can take one more.
Are you biracial? Are you mixed?
I'm black.
Okay, so you're not biracial. You're not mixed.
No, this isn't my profile picture. This is a burner account.
No, okay.
Being from New York City, you black what though?
What do you mean?
You say you from Brooklyn, yo. So when you say you black what?
I'm Cuban and African American.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, and where did you get the documents? Where did you read the document of him, Jordan Neely being on drugs?
Actually, yeah, I can talk about that real quick too. So Jordan Neely, the drug statement came actually from his uncle himself, who said that. And when it was brought up in court, the prosecution didn't deny it. It was good. So.
What? When was it brought up in court? That's what I'm asking. Where are you getting your transcripts from?
Yeah, sure. Let me find you the article. Because you're correct, there aren't court transcripts out right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
articles are written by white supremacists. They written by white supremacists, so we don't want to see it.
Okay, well, NBC News has an article.
They white supremacists too. Don't give me that shit. They white supremacists too.
It's okay. That's okay. I linked the NBC article. I linked the NBC article down below. It doesn't say that he had drugs in his system. Not that actually contributed to his death. So that's why I was wondering where you got that from.
All right, but corporate, go ahead, go, but real quick. Go ahead, real quick, corporate. Then we're gonna get to the next speaker.
Uncle stating that he was a frequent drug user of K2, which was found in his system.
That wasn't what contributed to his death, and it didn't say K2. It's actually
real quick, Rella. Let him finish, and then so we can go on and get to the other speakers in here. Go ahead, corporate. I'm gonna go ahead and let you finish real quick because I want to get to some of the other hands and the new speakers in here. So, but go ahead. I'll give you a minute. Then we're gonna go to the next speakers.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'll just wrap it up real quick. Yeah, Christopher Neely, he did say that his nephew Jordan was using synthetic drugs to treat his depression in the wake of his mother's death. When he lost his mother, my sister, it was heartbreaking for him. He got into K2, which was a way of him healing himself. So that's just a quote straight from him. I mean, you want to call him a white supremacist, go ahead. That's not my prerogative, but y'all have a good night.
Hey, look here, Cuban. Hey, we gonna.
All right, we finna get ready, Professor. We finna go ahead and go to the next speaker. So we're gonna go ahead and get to the next speaker. Let me go ahead and get to Hey,
Professor, you in trouble. Here come trouble too.
Let me go ahead and get to Rock Roller. Let me get to Rock Roller. Rock Roller, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, what's going on? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Yeah, shout out to the room, man. My blood has been boiling ever since that verdict came down today, and I've been trying to keep my calm. But it's already insulting that they let that white boy off for killing that black man. You know what I'm saying? That's already enough to make me lose my mind. But you know what's worse than that? When I come into these spaces and you got these cool niggas trying to justify this goofy, bro. I've already put everything aside when it comes to my life. My son, I have already made everything good with him because I am willing to go out and just cause total chaos, bro. Because I am sick and tired
seeing these white folks kill us, and they go through the goddamn court system, and it lets them off, and then we got a whole bunch of coons who come in these apps and try to adjust it. I want to kill them more than I want to kill Daniel Penny, bro. I'm dead serious. I want to take them out more than I want to take the white man out, bro. And I'm gonna land right there, man.
All right. Shout out to Rock Roller. Let me go ahead and get to lead. Let me go ahead and get to lead with Ray. I sent you the co-host just because I'm trying to, in case we got to clear up anything for any speakers coming up here. But okay, yeah, just in case, just to make some room. But go ahead, lead.
I ain't been co-host in a hot minute, man. I gotta get back used to this.
Oh yeah, I know it's been a minute. We ain't gonna be going too. We ain't gonna be going too long tonight. But lead with. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Peace to the space, man. Peace to the space. I appreciate you, WPI and Ray, allowing me to speak on your stage. Anytime anybody allow me on their stage, I'm grateful and humble. I really want to speak to Jay-Z accused of rape with Diddy. I just finished doing a build on my podcast. I just built about this. When you look, hey man, it's a continuum, right? It's really a continuum. I think Rottweiler was saying how he really he has a disdain for black folks more so than white people. He want to get rid of them. My thing is we have to learn how to think critically, right? We have to move away from thinking so emotionally because that stops us from thinking logically and rationally. When we are looking at the case with Diddy and Jay-Z, first of all, you have to look at Tony Busby, right? The lawyer. You have to look at him and Gloria already have been behind a lot of these allegations against affluent black men that we've seen. Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, they've all been either represented or with one or the other. And you have to ask, why is that? Another thing, brothers and sisters, ask yourself, these are all civil suits. These aren't criminal charges, right? That's another thing to listen to, the verbiage and where they're going. When a movie goes straight to the video store, you think that's a low-budget ass movie. Same with a charge or a suit. If it goes straight to criminal, you understand these people don't want justice. They want compensation, right? But I ultimately wanted to say this. Black man and woman, we have to offer ourselves justice. Not that anybody in this room is like that, but I've heard people in other places who automatically count brothers and sisters out for whatever reason, whether we've been victimized ourselves, whether we don't like the attitude of the person who has been accused, whatever the fuck it is, it don't matter.
Hey, language. Everybody watch your language. Go ahead.
Sorry, big brother. Forgive me. I didn't know that was a rule because I have rules in my room, so forgive me. Whatever it is, we have to make sure that we offering ourselves that type of justice, man, and that we are thinking critically and looking deep into things, because justice isn't just something that's going to pop out. Oftentimes, it has to be discovered, it has to be sought, and it has to be uncovered. So that's all I would offer you guys, man. Look into it, think critically, do that analytical research so that you can always leave logic. And I apologize for my language, big brother. I didn't know it won't ever happen again. And peace and love to everybody under the sound of my voice.
No problem. And thank you for coming up here tonight, lead with. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get to him. I see Ish up here. Ish, what's up with you? I see you up here.
Follow me back in WPI. I see you doing the pharmacy thing. Go ahead.
I see Ish up here. So shout out to her. I see my girl Trouble up here as well, too. So let me go ahead and get my girl Trouble up in here. What's up, Trouble?
I heard Professor cussing. I think Ish was up before I was. You want to go?
I didn't see.
Ma'am, I yield to you. I can yield to you.
Oh.
Okay, because I was gonna yield to Rella because I know Rella had wanted to come up right after.
You go ahead, Trouble, because you're a new speaker. So I'm trying to. If any of the new speakers want to go, I want to get them in here first.
Okay, because I wanted to hear what Rella was gonna say, Colorado Cowboy. But thank you, Newstoter. Shout out to the space. Shout out to the Black family in the house. WPI, Ray up in the cut. Everybody up in here. Shout out to the people that don't normally be in the space.
problem with a lot of times the people who don't normally be in the spaces, when we have certain spaces like this here, this is the opportunity that you all come in to be, I don't want to say controversial, but to be sort of contrarian. And it's weird. It really is weird. It's weird that every time one of you race soldiers or one of these race soldiers kills somebody black in a high profile type way, that we have people who try to convince the rest of us that our lying eyes didn't see what it was that we saw, and that you tried the whole space to convince us that the man was killed due to him being on drugs. That man had been on drugs, or if he was on drugs, then that wasn't the first day he was on drugs. So you mean to tell me out of all the days that this man did drugs, this was the day that the drugs decided to take him out, even though he was choked out in the process of it happening? See, it's a problem when somebody gets killed, a black person gets killed, and the first thing folks want to do is to justify the murder by saying, well, he had drugs in his system. You didn't know he had drugs in the system. You probably assumed he had drugs in the system, but you didn't know he had drugs, so that wasn't official. That is the official white language to use to justify the murder of a black man at the hands of a white man by any means necessary. Because there's never in the history of ever have you ever seen a black person kill another black man and that excuse be given, well, the brother only killed the other brother because, the other brother was on drugs. There's never that excuse. But for these race soldiers, these white boys, there's always that excuse. But murder is murder is murder is murder. And you could say Cuban and Californian or Cuban and African American all you want, but you're led with what you really was, Cuban. And it's amazing to me that all other nations of people outside of black Americans, for some reason, always see things the white way. Not the right way, but the white way. So I'm going to sit back in the cut, Toter, because I've been trying to be in the space, but I've been out in traffic this whole time, and Twitter been acting real crazy when you're not sitting by your Wi-Fi lately, and so I wasn't able to hear everything going on in the space. I'll reserve commentary on the Jay-Z and the rape of Diddy thing, Diddy rape situation. What I will say is I'll be glad when you can't tell a victim when to choose to, an alleged victim, when to choose to tell their story of what happened to them. I just kind of find it really curious, though, that nobody says anything until, it's always something that goes down, and then here comes people coming out of the woodworks. Another thing I'd like to point out is, when did 13-year-olds start going to concerts and stuff by themselves? Why come these people at these concert venues aren't carding the people who come into these concerts? And if you're 13, why aren't you supposed to be with an adult? That would curve a lot of these things where it comes to these rappers and entertainers being accused of rape that maybe they didn't do, because you're in the presence of a 13-year-old girl who's made herself up to look like maybe she's 16 years old. But as a grown man, grown person, you know the difference. You know a young girl. But at the same time, make these kids start coming to these concerts with their parents. That'll cut a lot of these foolishness and these allegations out. Because I don't understand why a 13-year-old kid at a concert, at a grown man concert, at a rap concert by themselves without parental guidance in the first place. And I'm not saying this to blame the alleged victim, the 13-year-old, but what I'm saying is that there's some ways that as society that we could kind of curb some of these things that be getting thrown out there. There's no way that your child, male or female, need to be going to certain venues at a particular age without there being an adult in the presence. I'm sorry. And I'll just land right there, and I'll come back. But
not only that, Trouble, but this was supposed to be a VMA's after party, and I mean, not just a regular concert, but you're talking about the video awards, MTV's video awards after party on top of that. So
right. So where was? Why is your 13-year-old behind out after a VMA party? I'm pretty sure them bad boys are starting at like 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning. Why are you out? Why are you not at home reading Dr. Seuss to somebody? You know, why aren't you reading Ramona? You know, you at home reading something. You know, but you, yeah, and yes, them Ramona series, that was some good books, wasn't it?
And not only that, trouble, but how in the hell does a 13-year-old even get inside of the after party, the VMAs after party? Like you say, you can look and tell, even if she's made up and this and that. No way in hell, no 13-year-old should be coming to the VMAs after party, BET after party, and then the actual people, the actual bodyguards and the security say, "Oh yeah, girl, come on in here." So I kind of find that I find that a little bit hard to believe, to be honest. But I mean, stranger things have happened. But I'm a little bit skeptical on this after party thing right here. I'm just gonna be honest. But we'll see exactly how this thing plays out. But I'm just a little bit a VMA after party, like you said. You're talking about something 2 o'clock. You got all these celebrities, all these stars. You got all this security, all these people carting people, this and that or whatever. And you're sitting up here and you're saying that not a 16-year-old dressed up to look like they're 18, not even a 15-year-old dressed up to look like they're 18. You're talking about a 13-year-old. We'll see. We'll see how this thing plays out. We'll see.
I live in the South, and a lot of these young girls here in the South are thick, and they built like brick shit houses. Excuse the profanity word, but that's what they call them here in the South. When you stack like a Coca-Cola. These girls is young, and they got more breasts and more asses than I've seen on young girls in a long time. But you could still look at these babies and tell that they babies. I don't care. I used to take my kids to the middle schools all the time, the little events and stuff, and see the little girls all the time. And yeah, they dress a little bit grown, and they trying to make themselves look grown, but you could tell that they babies. You could smell the milk on their breath. So how the hell you get your 13-year-old behind inside of a concert venue? I need them to make these things make sense when they're bringing it to the public. I need them to make sense when they're trying to force us to look at people a little bit funny because we done looked at them a little bit funny over the years. That's all.
Real talk. And I'm going to say this right here. And I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I'm still just trying to wrap my head around Jay-Z and Diddy getting together and tag teaming a 13-year-old. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know all the facts. I'm not, I'm not saying one way or another, but I'm just saying, just hearing this right here, hearing this story, and this is back in 2000, and just hearing that Diddy and Jay-Z one night at the VMAs, I'm not gonna say no more. I'm not gonna say anymore. Let me go ahead and get to Xander, then I'm gonna get to you, Rella.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, and then there was another big ass lie that was told about this. And they're like, when it comes to black folks, black Americans specifically, they always want to come up with this miracle Negro death. Like they'll say, well, he didn't die when the police shot him in the head 2 times point blank. They were still using oxygen, pumping it through his nose, keeping him alive artificially. But when he got to the hospital, they removed the. So the reason he died wasn't gunshots, it was because they removed the bag. See, black, we got to stop letting them bring up, like I said earlier, the drugs and stuff. Drugs has nothing to do with it. And then talking about, well, he didn't die from a choke. If you run into somebody in the back of their car and they end up with a bunch of ailments after you run into them, they don't tell you, well, you can't say, well, it wasn't the accident that caused it. It was after he left the accident, he started linking.
We lost you for a second, Xander, but go ahead.
But his ribs cracked more after he sat down in that chair. See, now, really, as far as this Jay-Z stuff, any black American with any common sense knows that that's just a distraction. That whole thing is a lie. Because To be honest with you, I don't even think it has nothing to do with Jay-Z. When you look at the stuff that's been happening with Kendrick, look how, and not just with them, but just how Black Americans, don't think that they don't come in spaces like this and try to monitor what the temperature is. They're seeing that a lot of us are starting to circle the wagons on our culture and seeing that we're starting to get a lot of the bad apples out. So if they can convince somebody that to attach somebody's name to pedophilia like a Jay-Z, and then that'll actually ruin everything else that he has something to do. What they're doing is we're stopping them from basically putting our culture, our music one thing, but our culture into the hands of people who really don't cut for us. Because if we keep going like we're going, we're going to be the biggest profiteers off of what we create. And if they can find some way to use like an industry plant like a Drake, who helped to shoehorn in a bunch of these whites who claim to be Jewish or whites into the music industry to pull the puppet strings as far as our culture and what direction we're going to take everything that we're doing. So I'm mute.
All right, appreciate that, Xander. Let me go ahead. I see Melissa. I didn't see you down there. Let me go ahead and get to you. Go ahead and unmute your mic, Melissa.
I can actually go last because there are a lot of people ahead of me. I'm just going to be real quick, so I'll just go last.
Because we want to get the new speakers in. So if you want to go ahead and speak now, you can go ahead and get it in. Because I try to get the new speakers up here because everybody's already spoke before. So, but it's up to you.
All right. I was just going to say that justice is going to be served. It may seem bleak, but somewhere in this great big country, some white man is going to come missing, or someone's body's going to be found somewhere. Think about Christopher Dorner, or Lavelle Nixon. My father even shot 2 cops. They both lived in that case, but it might seem discouraging now, but, it's not the people who speak out. It's the people who don't speak out that white people have to be the most worried about. So somebody's going to die for Daniel Penny's sins. It's going to happen. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you, Melissa. Let me give a shout out to let me give a shout out to Night. Hold on real quick, Xander. Hold on real quick, Xander. Let me give a shout out real quick to Nightfall too for his contribution on Cash App. Xander, what were you gonna say real quick?
Who are the jurors in this case? I didn't get much info on that. Does anybody have that?
No, I don't know the jury makeup in the case. To be honest, I'm sure it was predominantly white, like it is in most of these high profile cases.
Yeah, I think they kept this jury private. You know what I mean?
Let me go ahead and get to Rella. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic, then I get to you, Professor, and I get to you, Rock Roller. Ish, if you want to speak to Black Pressure, you guys want to speak, just put your hands up and we'll get to you.
Hey, Toda, can I go? I'll be real fast, bro. Because we all know Real is very, very long-winded. I wanted to say, I really believe in my heart.
You're fine, Rock Roller, but you ain't lying.
Yeah, you're right. But I just wanted to say this. I'll be real fast. I really believe that this Daniel Penny verdict was a payback for that George Floyd verdict, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the same scenario. They both got choked out. And I think that white America never forgot that. And they was like, you know what? We're going to get y'all niggas back. And I'm going to land right there.
All right. Shout out to you, Rock Roller. Let me go ahead and get to Rella. Rella, go ahead. You got it.
No, you can skip me.
You don't want to go now? Okay, I'll come back to you. Go ahead, Professor, then we'll come back and see if Rella wants to go.
Okay, so here we are dealing with another celebrity, right? Another black male celebrity, very popular rapper, corporate guy, Jay-Z, right? So here's a man that has built up his name, built up his business ventures. He's built up all of this, right? And you go back, 24 years now, right? To say he did something to a 13-year-old, which I can't, I'm just going to be honest with you, I can't see Jay-Z doing something like that.
You say Jay-Z and Diddy.
Jay-Z and Diddy, right? And to be honest with you, I can't see neither one of them doing it. I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all what the deal is with all of this stuff, right? The truth of the matter is, they're not doing this stuff to protect women. If anybody thinks that, you sadly mistaken. Because they're not trying to lock up any of these folks to protect women, or black women in particular. They are doing this for another reason. And you all know what it is. Because these are black men that can make moves to buy out media. Because all these black men that you see that they're going after have all tried to buy media. And they don't want them having access to media, okay? They don't want them to have access to major corporations, which is why Diddy took, Ciroc to court. So, see what I'm talking about? And then this is when you hear all these accusations come out, right? But other than that, yeah, sure, Diddy had all kinds of stuff that we heard about. But let's be honest, y'all. Unless you are in the inner circle of these celebrities, you don't know these folks. I don't know Jay-Z. I don't know Diddy. I don't know Kanye. I don't know Cassie. I don't know any of these people. Denzel, whoever. Viola Davis, whatever. Hey, I don't know any of these celebrities. And I don't be trying to be all up in their friction or business to know what they're doing, okay? This is the problem with our community. We are very big celebrity worshippers. It's almost like we just got to be up in these folks' asses, okay? And we sit here, and I see people all on these spaces in these apps talking about these folks like they know these folks personally. How do any of us know any of these people? I know most of us in here are on the low end of the spectrum from those black Americans like Jay-Z and Diddy and those folks, because those folks are going to be on the higher end, right? So how will you know what they do? See, you ain't going to know. But I see people in these just posting stuff like they want these folks to fall. See, this is the ignorance of the black community. They want black American people to fail. Now, that's sad. Because I don't want Jay-Z to fail. I don't want Diddy to fail. R. Kelly, don't want him to fail. I don't want even that what's her name? Candace Owens. I don't want to see Candace Owens fail.
Oh, hell no.
I want to see them all succeed.
42.
Because the thing is, y'all, white supremacy wants all of us to go to hell and fail. That's what we got to understand. They want all of us to burn in hell. They want all of us dead. So when I hear or see black Americans or any other blacks, because I don't think it's all black Americans, it's these other ones too, all up in these spaces and all over this app, sending out posts about, well, yeah, they're going to get them now. They're going to get them now. Yeah, that's right. You're going down now. You're going down. Like, what kind of stuff is this that we want to see our own people fall? What kind of stuff is it, y'all? Like, why? Why do you want to see other black folks fall? What is up with that? We got to really do some serious soul searching on that, on why we want to see black people to fall. Is it because we don't have success like a Jay-Z? Is that what it is? Is it because we mad because we didn't get Jay-Z success or something? I don't understand. But anyway, like Toto said, I'm just going to sit back and watch and see what comes out. But I'm not here to sit here and be glorifying his fall, his downfall, right? Like I be seeing people, oh yeah, they coming for you now, Jay-Z. They coming to get you, Jay-Z. Yeah, did it. Now they got you, dude. They got you, dude. This is our people. I'm telling you who I'm seeing doing this stuff, which is why white people be sitting back laughing at us. And they sit back and laugh at us because we be doing this type of stuff. We the only group that get up on social media to dog our own people out because you don't see white people doing. Now, I'm going to bring it back to Daniel Penny, right? To Jay-Z. See how white people are protecting Daniel Penny? See how they protecting him, right? They own code. And they know the dude evil. They can look in the video. Look at that video. That joker looked like he was in a demonic spell when he was choking out our brother Jordan Neely, right? But white people still got on code. Our people cannot get on code for anything, man. And it just kills me. So with Jay-Z coming out, right? The story with Jay-Z coming out, what did our people do? Yeah, Jay-Z, you going down now, Jay-Z. Yeah, man, you finna fall. That's our people. And that's why we can't get nowhere. I'm going to land right there.
All right. Thank you, Professor. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get to B Mont. B Mont, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yo, what's up, Newstoter? I ain't been in here in a minute. I've been coming back here like 3-4 months.
Okay. What's going on, man?
With the Jay-Z thing, you know, it's very, very interesting. I was having a conversation with my uncle. He's 39 or 38, something like that. No, he's 39, and I just turned 30. So, you know, he's just been around for a while, and I was just talking to him because I was just talking about Jay-Z. And there was a certain case and something else that I was talking about that I feel like his corporate entity or Rock Nation that was involved in or whatever, but I'm not going to really get into that. I want to stick to Jay-Z. And one of the points I was making was like Diddy, and you look at the fall of the industry and the cracks breaking and everything, and how the whole industry is being restructured and the veil is being lifted. And I brought up a bunch of other names, and I was like, how is Jay-Z still standing? How is he still standing? Like when you go back to the early 90s, early 2000s or whatever, specifically that time period, like the term that people are using for what Tony Busby, the lawyer, is doing to Jay-Z, they're calling it a shakedown. Okay, like when I think about the industry and what it was built off of, or not necessarily built off of, but what it thrived on in the 90s, especially when it comes to females. Oh, you want this role? Get on your knees. Do this. How is that not a shakedown? And, you know, it was the ease with which, you know, men were emasculated. Women, pride taken away from them, just feeling abused and actually being abused and things of these natures. It was the ease with which these celebrities would do these things to these people. So Hov can call it a shakedown. But just as easy as you treated those people in the circle you were around, R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, you had some deals with him and Diddy, just as easy as you did these things to these people, how come these things can't be easily done to you? So a lot of the things are like the positions you put yourself in, like the karma that comes back around and where you're at. Like there's a difference between, and I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all have seen 50 Cent talk about Jay-Z, and especially recently with the Super Bowl performance where 50 was there. Jay-Z was trying to block it. It's like, I guess the producer of the show, the person who picks the performers and stuff like that. And Eminem said he wasn't doing that unless 50 was coming along, which I appreciate him for that, because adding 50 to that just made that whole performance much more legendary. But the difference between 50 Cent and Jay-Z is that, yeah, like 50 Cent is vindictive at times, but it's in your face. He's telling you what he's saying. You know where he's coming from, and 50's 50. Jay-Z is the dude in the corner with his lips closed, not talking to nobody, figuring out how I can plot on somebody. Camel lips. Yep. Yeah, camel lips. So when I look at Jay-Z, a lot of this is just the way he's been moving and things he's been doing. Like he's been in these rooms or whatever, and he tries to move like, hey, this ain't going on. Like, you shook down Dame. You got him up out of there. Like, whoa, I would never do this. And when you look at the letter that he's writing, like, I'm from the streets of Brooklyn, my brother. This don't got nothing to do with the streets. The streets are unforgivable. The streets are undefeated. That's where the code really don't matter based off the history of our people and who we are. And like Section 8 living, you know, that crab in a barrel mentality. If you ain't ever had nothing, you got to do these unfortunate things to get something. Streets ain't the code. What you talking about? Why are you writing this letter like you coming from this bravado and egotistical perspective? Like, Oh, the audacity. My brother, you've been around all these same people. You might be a little more clean with them with like the way you do certain things, but you're not innocent, bro. You're not innocent. I look forward to showing you who I really am. Like, bro, what are you talking about, bro? Like, where are you getting all this stuff from? So when I think about Jay-Z, a lot of this has been in the making, like for years. It's been in the making for years. And I'm like a Tory Lanez fan. So that's the case that I was talking about. I feel like Desiree Perez, you just know who she is. And some of those people, they have an involvement in. I've been listening to Tory since I was about 15, and he was 17, because he's a couple years older than me. So that goes back to 2009. Seen him perform 5 times live, do the meet and greet. The first time his dad ever saw him perform is the first time I saw him perform. So we saw him on the same day. So if you go back to Tory's dad outside the courthouse when he gets that unjust conviction, his dad is like, Jay-Z, you that say you rose from the gutter of bartering and trading the souls of all our youth, and you're still doing it. The thing that people, maybe some people know in this space, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you don't know, Tory's dad is a missionary preacher. So when I go back to like the first time I ever seen him perform, and that was the first time his dad seen him perform, I'm divinely connected to the situation. I know words are spells and spells are words. So I know what his dad was doing at that point in time. It's all coming around full circle. It's all coming around full circle. So Jay-Z been had this in the making. And you know, one of the things that could be interesting, even before this, if you look at Jay-Z, who's he been hanging around with recently? Michael Rubin. Bro, you've been trying to switch your friend group for the last 6 months or years since Diddy started going down, bro. You're not nice. See through all of that. So I don't know, you know, maybe he's trying to shake down Michael Rubin, because Michael Rubin owns Fanatics. He's I'm pretty sure he's the one who throws the July 4th party, man. The all-white party that you see a lot of viral clips from, at least over the last few years or so. So, like, to me, like, I see through everything Jay-Z doing. He's trying to change the friend group, be around Michael Rubin.
Hey, B-Mon, I'm going to have to get you to land your plane. No.
Oh, yeah, my fault. I know I'm going on a lot, but just in general, though, like, you know, Jay-Z been had this coming, bro. Like, this is not, you try to move like a smooth operator and not quiet and stuff, but you know, the karma doesn't lie. And she always comes around, for better or for worse.
All right, appreciate that. We're not going to keep this going too much longer because it's Monday and I'm getting ready to get up out this space. So I'm going to let Black Majority State get it in, and I might let 1 or 2 other people, and then we're going to be closing this thing out for the night. Black, go ahead and unmute your mic. How you doing tonight?
If you want to talk, raise your hand if you want to talk.
Okay. Appreciate you. Great space. Man, I didn't really want to talk in here, but, you know, the 13-year-old thing, I remember the video that got posted that had Diddy at the VMAs inviting this 13-year-old actress to a party after the VMAs, and you see Ashton Kutcher in the background of that video. Now, Ashton Kutcher, he's been escaping all this, but he was around all of it. You know, he's always in the background, always on the side, talking about he gonna lead the country and all this other crazy shit. But he ain't getting none of the. He ain't getting none of the flack. But you know, man, shout out to the brother just spoke. So I have no love for celebrities who have no love for Black America, who do nothing in the community. They amass these large fortunes. They ain't built a single thing, not a grocery store, not a hospital, not a school. They ain't did nothing for the Black American community. And so when they set themselves up, because they all are setting themselves up. When Kanye was going down, where was Jay-Z? That was my brother. That was Kanye looked at him as his brother. Where was Jay-Z at to defend him or say anything on his behalf? He's always been very slithery in his motions. And I've been a fan of his music, you know, from the very beginning. But, you know, it's like if he built himself a community of Black American lineage descendants, then he was a part of that community. When these accusations popped up, he would have a community of people standing behind him, and he does not have that. And I think that's the issue that a lot of these people who get to these heights, they sign these contracts, they're global movers and shakers. They try to participate in the white man's system at the white man's level, and then they get thoroughly thrashed and trying to compete with them, because to them it's a sport, it's a game, it's fun. The NFL is going to have to sever their ties. I'm shocked that it hasn't happened already. If he's dragged through some lengthy court, whatever, they're going to have to separate, because the fans, they got little kids. They're not going to want this guy hanging around. And this may be the last Jay-Z Super Bowl, setup, performance, etc. So I'll just land with that.
All right, appreciate that, Black. And I think, depending on how this plays out, you may be right as well, too. So you have to kind of, who knows, unless this thing kind of gets thrown away or whatever. Yeah, they may have to, they may have to go ahead and try to get their distance from Jay-Z. Even though we're not talking about a criminal case, but this civil case, nonetheless, they're not going to want that kind of PR as well, too. So we'll see how things play out. We should get a better understanding in the next few days, a few weeks, and everything else coming up as well. So we'll see exactly what's what. Let me go ahead and get.
Can I add just a little bit to that, Newstoter?
B-Mont, let me go ahead and get to let me get to Ish, and then let me get to Rella, and if I got time, I'll come back to you, because you kind of was going for a little minute. So let me get to them, and we'll see if we got enough time. Ish, I'm gonna let you go ahead. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, Brother Newstoter. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, I just I initially came up to respond to the Cuban who said he wasn't biracial, and then turned around and basically told us that he was. But he left because he didn't want to be pressed about how he didn't actually have any receipts for his argument that he made about Jordan Neely being on drugs, because Jordan Neely was not. That's just a lie. But anyway, I came up with that. But I'm going to say this. I want to say two things, and I'll be very quick. I'm usually long-winded, but I'll be very quick. So the first thing is Daniel Petty is a scumbag who murdered a disabled person. It's just that simple. If Jordan Neely was white people would be just as pissed off and would be screaming in the streets just like we are that Daniel Penny is a murderer who murdered a disabled person, which doesn't make him a hero. Okay? He's a scumbag. That's it. Also, to mention, because it was alluded to, somebody said something about the jurors. Just so you know, a couple of the jurors were from the Philippines, Ukraine. Just so you know, right? So there were people on the actual jury who aren't from here, right? Who absolutely did have biases. Some of them, in fact, more than 4 of them admitted that they have been on the subway and ridden the subway, and have seen people have outbursts on the New York subway, which was as natural for the New York subway, because that's what people do on the New York subway. They see outbursts and people be peopling on the New York subway. But they didn't feel threatened, nor did they feel like they needed to call the police when they have these interactions. So that's something else that's really important to note. And y'all already know I'm going to leave my receipts in the chat. And the last thing I want to say is I think people need to toe the line and understand that, we're living in a society where the rules change based on who you are. For some reason, we have folks who are allowed to continue being film directors, and and granted, I get it. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Nobody should be trying to acclimate to ideologies, mindsets, psychosis, or lifestyles of white people, because we're not white people, right? However, we also need to be honest about the reality that anytime Black men in this country do anything for themselves, build any kind of wealth, develop anything, invent anything, innovate anything, people always want to steal, kill, or destroy them. And that is a problem for me. And it should be a problem for you too. And that doesn't mean that folks are not above reproach. It simply means that when we are dealing with these things, we must deal with them in-house. Because when we don't, it's only entertainment for white people and all of the agents that participate in white supremacy.
Thank you for letting me speak.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get to Rella. Rella, go ahead. Real quick, and we'll see. B-Mon, I'll see if I got a chance to give you maybe a 50 seconds or a minute or whatever, but go ahead, Rella.
I won't go too long because I know he wants to respond, but I'll say definitely I agree with what Ish said. Black Majority said. Yeah, Jay-Z, whatever he didn't do nothing different than any white folks have built their legacies off of, in the way that the track that they took. I think black men who gotten to be billionaire status, again, they've done the same thing a lot of these other white people have done, but they're being called to the carpet. And, my position on, like I said, Daniel Penny, you already know. I agree with Trouble's statement. Where are the parents at 13? Why is the parents not calling for, at the time, my child is missing? You need to find them. That never happened. No one's bringing that up. So I don't know if DJ's going to do like maybe a part 2. If you do, then I'll elaborate. But Tory Lanez can get deported for all I care.
All right. B-Mont, real quick, I'm going to give you a minute. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, the point I was gonna make was that obviously Jay-Z picks his show, so I agree with the other guy that was up there, like that he shouldn't be doing it anymore. But it's just interesting how you got Kendrick Lamar peddling the pedophilia song, bop bop bop. Like, there's just elements of it that's very kid friendly in the worst way, because obviously, it's influencing their subconscious, like whether like you're criticizing about it or not, like kids shouldn't be freely listening to things like that or whatever. But then you look at Lil Wayne and his response to Kendrick being picked for a Super Bowl in his hometown. It's almost like he was promised something, or he felt a certain way. He felt like it should have been him. Jay-Z plays behind the scenes and does those things, as I mentioned earlier, quietly vindictive, to prove points or to flex some type of superiority. And it's like, you playing like, just for the sake of this decision, you kind of playing these nigga games on a corporate level. And to me, that's even more so a reason why the NFL should just get away from it. You got some other stuff going on instead of just actually picking people who are good for the performer. You're doing like other behind the scenes stuff. Bad look for the league.
All right. Appreciate that, B-Mont. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to close this space out for the night, guys. We're going to be closing out. DJ, you got a late night space going on or no?
Yeah, we'll see about that, man. I have to arm wrestle D-Rella.
All right.
Well, hold on. Let me say this one last thing real quick before you hang up.
Yeah.
So, Daniel Penny never been around no Negroes. He from Islip, New York again. Y'all might want to look up the demographics of that. Shout out to Black State, you know what I mean? So, Islip, New York is like 90% plus white. The second minority race or majority race or whatever you want to say is mixed race, like old boy corporate. That's why you can't let these New York City knackers, you know what I'm saying, or tether knackers in this corporate case, you know what I'm saying, spit that rhetoric of the white supremacist talk. Yo, you Cuban and something else, B. You from New York City, you black and what? And look, how old are you again? You ain't been around no fiends, bro. You don't even know no fiends, bro. So how you know how a fiend act, bro? Sounds silly, B. You know what I'm saying? And you don't live in Brooklyn anymore, so you definitely sound stupid. And Brooklyn ain't Brooklyn anymore. That's just whatever part of New York City, Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? That ain't the old Brooklyn from where Jay-Z from. You know what I'm saying? Where you might go outside and really lose your life, bro. You're going to have to fight every day. As soon as you step outside of the elevator, bro, it's on. You know what I'm saying? You don't know about pissy hallways and none of this other stuff. You know what I mean? You're too young for that, bro. It ain't even your era. You know what I'm saying? So how you going to say all that stuff about Jordan Neely? Because that's the tether side talking. There you go. And Jigga not guilty. Go listen to the record.
All right.
Jigga gentrified Brooklyn, though, too, right? Don't forget that.
Say that again.
I say Jigga responsible for the Brooklyn gentrification. Don't forget
that. Yeah. No, not guilty, though. Go listen to the record still, though. But yeah, here come Jigga Cone. You cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. JC R. Kelly not guilty. But Jigga been the Cone says he got Jada Kiss record. Well, not his record, but he got Maya record with the original Jada.
Wait. Before we go all into that, let me go ahead and close this space out. Yeah, and y'all can touch up on that in the next space. But we out for the night, guys. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace, be safe, and have a good one.
You ain't gotta go home, but you gotta get the hell up out of here, B. You know what I'm saying? Go.